All right, people, we are live here Friday night. Hope you got nothing to do. If you're under 18, sign off now. Profane language will be used. I'm here with my Uncle Gary Gabagool. We're going to go deep in on liberalism and its lunacy right now.
Salud.
Cheers, salud.
First and foremost, happy Easter weekend to everybody. Hope everyone is going to have a great holiday this weekend. But it's interesting that we're talking about this because right now in America, the world is going crazy. It's fucking going nuts. I mean, right now I could name 10 things off the top of my head that occurred in the last 2 or 3 days, and media has a blackout. It's completely silent. You still hear the fucking Trump-Russia stuff, which has been going on now for how many months?
It's going on 5
months. 5 months of talking and hammering the same bullshit. And the interesting part, and Sal and I talk about this, is that the DOJ, all these acronyms, DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, who've been uncovering every rock, have proved there is no ties.
No.
But the fucking media keeps talking about it. Meanwhile, the stuff me and Sal and I are going to talk about is what they should be talking about. But they're a bunch of corrupt motherfuckers. Listen, Sal and I can talk about every politician in the last 50 years. Corruption, felonious activity, and just fucking downright criminal activity with politicians.
Corruption runs deep, and that's where I really wanted to start with you. Like, let's just go deep back into the history. When did this start? When did the corruption actually begin? Like, was this JFK when he was talking about the secret societies? That speech was
before him. I listen. I think, and this goes back. If you go back to crazy shows like Game of Thrones or Vikings back in North, I think whenever you have men or women in power, corruption is going to occur. And I don't think that can be stopped. It happens in businesses, happens in little league games, it happens in politics.
Yeah.
The problem that I see in 2017 is, or even in the last few years, is the incredible amount of omission that's going on in the media. It's crazy. And Sal and I, as this podcast is going to go on, is going to talk about several subjects. And I will guarantee none of you heard it on any major news network. You definitely didn't hear it on CNN and CNBC. And even, I'm going to tell you something, even probably Fox you didn't hear it on. And the one thing that Sal and I do, and we talk about all the time, is I don't watch the news per se. I don't flip to a channel and watch. Once in a blue moon, I'll peruse over a Fox station if my mother-in-law has it on. But mostly I go to C-SPAN records, which are actual things happening in Congress. I go to congressional hearings, and then I do my own research. And I don't put shit out there that's false. One thing that Sal and I want to stress is everything we say will have a factual, decisive bit of information we can go to confirm. So after we're done, Sal can say what he wants. Anybody out there watching this can go somewhere and find out that this is true. This isn't our emotions. This isn't our feelings. This isn't our fucking, I'm depressed today and I'm going to go, throw some shit against the wall and hope it sticks. This is factual stuff. And that's one thing that's important to Sal. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this with him, because he makes sure what he says, he does his research. He does his homework. He's not a fucking slackard who just doesn't feel, I don't feel good today. I'm going to say some shit about that's not true. He doesn't do that. And that's why we're doing this.
No trolling ever.
Exactly.
No. Let's be real, people. Let's up the intellect level of everyone by talking about real conversations. Let's end this this old timey thing of like the news cycle is so crazy right now. You can get news faster than you could ever before.
Absolutely.
So why is everyone not trying to read and be the smartest they can? Like you can have 10 years of reading on your phone at any given time.
Exactly.
And people just want to choose to believe nonsense. I don't understand. Like why are they willfully ignorant? Why does it have to be like this?
That's a great question, and I try to address it every day. And what I basically think happens is, and this is what my analogy I make. How could you probably weren't even born yet? But there used to be a guy named the Reverend Jim Jones in Guyana. I don't know if you know about him.
Yeah, the guy with the Kool-Aid.
Exactly. All right, now think about this. How could people who have a fucking brain, or any electronic activity going on in their head whatsoever, how could they sit there in a circle and say we're going to drink Kool-Aid that's laced with poison because this man told us to?
And we cut you off eating separate story. What about Charlie Manson? What about these people actually the balls trying to get parole? You see this shit? The lady, she goes, yeah, well, I did stab the baby.
Yep.
You stabbed a pregnant woman's baby.
Exactly.
Look,
That's like a
and
Game
you're
of
trying to get
Thrones
parole?
episode.
Are you
Right.
fucking insane? No, you're an animal.
Yeah, you're an animal. And I think what happens is over the years, it's the educational system's to blame. It starts now in grammar school. It definitely is pervasive in high school, and then colleges are just fucked. And that's where Sal comes in. Because what's good about this podcast, people, is we're two generations. You know, we're two generations away, basically. And what's great is his experiences every day are much different than mine. Although I do deal with a lot of people that are in the millennial age when I'm out in public. Just talking to find me, as you all know this, I'm a fucking nut magnet for people. About this is we're going to get two different perspectives. We're going to get the millennial perspective. And Sal's not a liberal by any stretch. He's a conservative. And the one thing that's great about Sal, though, is he has an open mind. He's willing to listen, debate, and let the other person speak and not attack them. And that's a good thing.
This is a great segue. The reason this podcast is called the Red Podcast, we are the reasonable, enlightened, deplorable Red Podcast. We are deplorable, but we like to be reasonable.
Exactly.
We want to be we want to know the middle of the road. We don't want the left wing. We don't want the crazy right wing. We want to know what everyone's feeling, because I feel like everyone in the middle is the true majority.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like those nuts. They're like, we can even equate that to these crazy ISIS people. It's just a small percentage of these people.
Yeah.
It's like, even though there's parts of Islam that are obviously horrible with the Sharia and that crazy situation.
Exactly.
But like, they're not all bad people. I wish I could think of the doctor and what he said. It's like the racist and the KKK.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're racist, but Ben, the black guy that lived next door to me, he's okay.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Right.
Oh, his friend too, he's okay. But the rest of them, they're all bad.
Exactly.
It's like, what is this mindset of like, just open up, get to know people, learn,
talk. Yeah. And the thing that I find funny, and I run into this every day, people, is that, and this, I'm not trying to be stereotypical here. I'm just going by what I see, and I'm not making this shit up. It happens. But what I see is the far left, and that's why we call it liberal lunacy, will not let you fucking speak. And I can go on and on. For people who follow me on Facebook, Gary Gabagool, I fight with liberals every day, and I basically tell them, don't bring a butter knife to a gunfight, because I fucking destroy them. And I know I won when, after about shutting them up, after about 5 posts, I know I'm called a racist, Islamophobe, a homophobe, all these fucked up words that they've created in their brain. And as Sal said, you're getting people out there who, I think what happens in that, go back to like the Reverend Jim Jones mantra, or like the whole scenario is, I think since they were children, they're being fed this information in school. And what happens is, I think, these kids go home from age 6 to age 21. And if they have parents who talk to them and discuss this in a rational way and don't stick their agendas down their fucking throats, you get people with enlightened minds, with open minds, ready to discuss. But what I'm seeing today, and it's not me, because if you want to go, the thing that happened about a month or 2 ago with Milo Yiannopoulos out in UC Berkeley. Now, UC Berkeley, folks, used to be the freedom of speech haven. Well, here's this gay guy who's a Jewish immigrant, and I thought that was all the in-groups of the liberals, and he's flamboyant.
A flamboyantly gay immigrant.
Gay immigrant. But he's conservative.
Yes.
And that's
so that makes him evil.
That exactly. And that's where the liberals lose so much of their audience. And that's why they got destroyed in this election. Because how can you have all of these talking points and then just add one tag word to a conservative, and that makes all the things that you like about that person horrific?
Yeah, it all comes down to, like, he was too about, the shock articles, the shock thing, this and that, and it works. I mean, in this new age of people saying whatever the hell they want, and then people coming back at them, and then what do you say? Fuck you. Right. Get out of my face.
Right.
It's crazy. I wish, to some part of me, I do enjoy that and I like it, but I really wish that communication is going to start. I really hope it starts opening up, because we're going to get so much farther if we just start talking, and people will really understand what the agenda is right now, what is actually trying,
right.
Trump and the administration is actually trying to do.
That's what's most important.
No one wants to talk about it.
No.
No one wants to listen.
No.
So it's just like, it's, and you're hearing it from these, news sources like Fox and all these. I mean, they do say some good stories, but what they leave out is crucial to everyone actually, forming an opinion on things.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the news, as Sal mentioned earlier, all of the news posts we get every day. If you're not looking for it, you're not going to find it. You ain't fucking getting on the news. I mean, like we said earlier, 5 months. 5 fucking months. Think about that, people. Trump, Russia. It got to a point where I couldn't even turn on the news anymore. Who the fuck could? Because it was just an incredible amount. Like after the first maybe 3 to 4 days of it, I zoned out. I couldn't listen.
It's too much.
It's too much. It's too much bullshit. There's nothing. And the thing is, intelligent people with open minds can watch these, the Chris Matthews of the world, these fucking nuts on CNBC and CNN who just keep pounding every day. And normal speaking, normal, intelligently, people can sit around and say, we know this is just bullshit. Hey, listen, that's not why those 40 journalists or 70 journalists went up to meet Hillary Clinton, Podesta, and Bernie Sanders, and they were told what to say, when to say it, because it's an incestuous relationship these people have. So with that being said, how are we ever going to get fair information? This is it. This is it.
Let's talk.
Exactly.
Let's learn together. Let's bring out these ideas. Let's talk about what they're not talking about, and we can really get it somewhere finally.
And just we're going to start riffing on some topics that are going on, things that you're not hearing in the media whatsoever. Yeah. I call it the media blackout of conservative and liberal issues that are going to affect the liberal or negatively. They just don't even talk about them. So today, as Sal mentioned earlier, in Dearborn, we had a woman, a doctor. Now think about this, people. This is a fucking medical doctor. I'm in the medical field. I could never even imagine something like this happening. But her name, and I got to say it because she got busted today. Her name is Jumana Nagarwala. She's a Muslim woman in Detroit, Dearborn area. And what she got in trouble for today, now think about this, people, is mutilating the clitorises of 6 and 7-year-olds. That is fucked up. Now, the caveat to that is that's fucking Sharia law, people. That's fucking Sharia law. And if you don't know what Sharia law is, if you're saying Sharia law is great, or you're a liberal out there who's like Muslim, let's get the Muslims here. Sharia law, do your research. That's it. Cutting off the clits of 6 and 7-year-olds. She got busted today. She's going to jail, probably for life.
That's unreal. What about the other part about Sharia law? Wasn't a man up in Michigan too?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some weird article. It looked, I don't know if it was true or fake. I get a lot of my news from Feedly.
Yep. Okay.
Feedly gives you, like, you'll get Drudge and some right-wing stuff too, but you'll get a lot of left-wing stuff because there's more left-wing media out there.
Without a doubt.
But I like it because you really get to see both sides of the picture. The same story will paint the picture so crazy.
Exactly. That's the fun.
Yeah, that's the fun part about it. So you really get to understand, like, wow, these people are just trying to mess with my mind, and they're really trying to throw me off of what the real agenda is actually going on, which no one talks about.
And the scary part is, and I got to give credit where credit is due. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they're
effective. It's crazy, but as always, I'm always a fan of reading a lot of things. I've read the Quran. There's a book called The Rules for Radicals done by Saul Alinsky. And Saul Alinsky is an idol of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Fact. And after Saul Alinsky died, he had a son, David. And David took over when the father passed away, took over his agenda, or his life's agenda. And he's a radical communist socialist. And he said he was in charge of the Obama Clinton class, so to speak. He said that Clinton and Obama were his two best students. So the reason I'm bringing this up is there's 20 rules in the Rules for Radicals, and we could talk about some of that another time. But the one I want to really ascertain to is that he said you must control the media. And I got to give the guy visionary credit. He knew even back then that the pen and paper, that's why they always say the pen is mightier than the sword. Now, know what the fucking pen is? The pen ain't a sword. the pen's a fucking piece of marshmallow because they have no credibility. They got shit. But he was smart to know if you control the flow of information, you control a society.
That's what we were talking about earlier too. About
Exactly.
what 3, maybe 4 people own all the media companies in the entire world. I mean, that's searchable. I was taught that in college. Like, this is easily find information that you can find out. So it's kind of scary when you think about it, man. If they all team up, the agenda that you go back into history now, way back when the paper mill and newspapers were really big. And we were talking about I think I talked about to some of your friends during the wedding, maybe, I'm not sure, but I was talking about William Randolph Hearst. Maybe even my grandmother, because she likes to smoke a little bit too. Anyway, she goes, I was like, you don't understand the whole reason marijuana is even called marijuana. It was by this guy William Randolph Hearst, who owned paper mills, and he, in the huge article back in the day, was hemp. The new $1 million, $1 billion crop.
And he was right.
So he was right. So what to do?
He
had to fucking tell people, don't. This is what people are gonna smoke this, and you can't even smoke hemp. There's no psychoactive drug in hemp. That's the male plant.
Right.
You can only smoke the flowers off the female.
Exactly.
So he knew that, wow, they're gonna be able to grow this. They're gonna be able to take away all my paper plants. So he wrote all these articles slandering marijuana.
Right.
And he did.
And he was a rich guy.
You know what it was?
One of the richest guys in the country.
He was saying Mexican people were going to cross the border and rape white women. That was the huge thing he would print if they get their hands on marijuana. And people were petrified.
Yep. So it's scary. If I got to go back and I got to be honest, that's the scariest part of what's happening today. Is there's no people investigating. Like they did President Nixon. Watergate. That's not happening, because let me tell you something, people. If you want to be completely honest and fucking take away all the layers of bullshit, and if you're a heavy duty left winger, liberal loon like we talk about, if you want to open your mind a little bit, if the media was 1/100th as investigative as what they're doing with Trump, he would have been bounced 6 months, a year into his job. I mean, talk about impeachment. You fucking idiots that tell me, oh, Trump's getting impeached. On what? I don't know, but I feel it. Like that's what I hear, some fucking jerk offs. But if that was the case, and let me tell you something. What did President Obama do the last day before he got ousted from the White House by President Trump?
He did a couple things.
What are we talking about? But he sent $444 million to Iran that circumvented Congress, and he just did it. Fuck it, I'm leaving. They did it.
What about trying to give that money to Palestine?
Exactly. He did that too.
I know some Jewish people, and they weren't very happy about that.
No.
It's pretty sick.
It's that whole show would take 5 podcasts to talk about. We're not going to resolve it here, that's for sure.
Yeah, that'll be a series of podcasts.
I mean, that's basically the emphasis of everything what's going on today. But about here in America and the media blackout, as we talk about, Sal and I are just going to talk about a few things real quick. We're not going to harp on them or nothing, but these are things that if you think about, people, are pretty scary. The media's not talking about it. They're not talking about it at all. And I'll give you an indicator of that. After I mentioned the story, see how many of you have heard of this, or see how many of you were aware of this, because it's fucking crazy. Obama key advisor Susan Rice had someone working for her named Candace Claiborne. Candace Claiborne today just got sentenced to 20 years for selling secrets to the Chinese. This is like fucking spy shit. This is like, shit you see on TV, but that's what she was doing. If this was done in any other country, she would have probably been hung this morning at sunrise or this evening at sunset.
Was there any details on what the secrets were?
Yeah, I didn't get the details. I bet you if you go to Wiki, you could probably find out, but it was all top secret stuff. She was getting paid and she was doing it for money. So that's what it comes down to. Everyone's going to do, but I bet you none of you heard of that. And also, I bet you didn't hear about Jumana Nagarwala, the doctor who's cutting off little kids' clitorises. They won't talk about that because that's about a Muslim person. And right now, that's the theme that the liberals want to keep out of the mix. They don't want to talk about any kind of terrorism or any type of bad activity that Muslim people may be doing. And like Sal mentioned earlier, This is not here to banish Muslims. Radical Islam is what we're talking about. But the scary part about radical Islam is this. Every FBI, every CIA, every SAS, every agency across the world says about 20 to 25% of Muslims are radical. And that means they either will do some type of jihad, some type of Sharia law, or if they don't do all three, they also financially help them.
Kills me the most.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I have good friends that are in the city. I see them weekly, you know, and they're Muslim and they're great people. And I've known them. And Jeannie's met them.
Yep.
And she's cooked them dinner.
Yep.
Like, you know, they're fucking great people. Yeah. But I talked to his dad once, and you know, he has a sister, a younger sister. She's the youngest out of all of them, and she has a boyfriend. And they went on vacation and all this stuff. He was telling me what was going down on vacation. He's like, man, my dad was giving this dude a hard time. I was like, I bet. I was like, was this your sister's first boyfriend ever? He's like, yeah, but you don't understand, man. He's like, if this was back then, like, they're Muslim, but they're not from the Middle East, but they're Muslim. He's like, my dad still believes in that Sharia law stuff. He's like, this shit should not be going down. I was like, come on, man. I was like, would he fucking stone her to death? Would he actually do that? Would he go that far? And he looked at me and he's like, dude, I don't know. And I looked at and I'm like, this man is he's nice to me.
Right.
I see this man, he shakes my hand, he treats me like a gentleman. And I was like, I could never in a million years imagine that happening to like his sister. And she's like an American. She's an American girl. Right. She was born here, obviously. But to just like, it's that one generation removed. I'm telling you, like I was saying the other night at dinner, I was like, we're a couple generations removed from that craziness, that crusades and that fucking wildness that was going on, and you know, Christianity.
Right.
They're in it.
Yeah.
Their crusades are like now, and that's the sad part. And like, not to keep harping on like I don't know if you've harped on this at all, but not to harp on mental disability. When I found out that Pakistan was 70% it's a fact I was not aware of.
Right.
And that's a searchable fact, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Like I kind of lost it. And then I told you the facts about Britain and then the level of mental retardation that goes on there and within their Muslim community.
Right.
It's a bizarre practice. It really is.
Here's what I have a hard time wrapping, and I'm scratching my head because I have a hard time wrapping my head around this. When I hear liberals talk pro-Muslim, and I'll give you an example. I call it Holly weird now. I don't support any of those douchebags in Hollywood. A few weeks ago, you had Ashley Judd, who I personally think is on some type of Xanax or some type of drinking problem or whatever. But she goes in front of a crowd of liberals and they cheer her, and she says that this is what she said, quote, Muslim women have more rights than Western raised women. And think now, people want to question me on Facebook and say, why do you generalize? Well, everyone in that audience, which was not a ton of people, maybe 500, they all cheered her. Number one. Number two, it's completely false. There's not one fact. Matter of fact, I could sit here and tell you, Sal just mentioned something about this gentleman's daughter. You go online, and let me tell you something, people. You go online, you could see women stoned, battery acid thrown in their faces. They become disfigured, shot, killed, hung, genital mutilation, all this shit. We could talk about it. And to go back to my point saying that all these agencies said like 20 to 25% of the world is radical Islam, that's 550 million people. That's 2 of our countries almost, of just bad people. So the stereotype of radical Islam is no stereotype. It's true. And the fact of the matter, this gentleman, if he could get away with it, would harm his daughter because she dates a man, is pretty scary. And then
and she's a woman, right? She's 20 years old. Like,
she's a woman. She's not a kid.
Yeah.
But then they add to what Sal said about the retardation, the amount of pedophilia going on. I saw a video that was so fucking disturbing. I started to cry. There was about 16 little girls between the ages of 6, couldn't have been older than 10.
They're all petrified.
In wedding dresses, petrified. And they're having their hand held by a man who looks like their fucking grandfather. The kid, how can you sit here as a I'm not classifying someone as a liberal, a conservative, an independent. I'm talking a human being, a person who has a moral compass that knows between right and fucking wrong, and not be completely horrified by that. Honest to God, I think I watched it. I couldn't finish it. I was like shaking. I saw tears welling up my eyes. You saw these little kids' faces. Just like Sal said, petrified was a nice word. They look like they want to jump out of their fucking skin and run away. And they're little kids, little children.
And they wanted to bring them here.
Yeah,
all of them.
Exactly.
You hear about the stories about these places, the refugee cities that happen in like Tennessee and stuff like that, and people are freaking freaking out.
Of course,
their kids can't walk down the street anymore.
Right?
What the hell happened? They made America not America.
I think it's so tolerated in Europe, and the Swedes.
Europe's so fucked up.
Holy shit, it's so fucked up. It really is. It really is. And
there's just a bunch of barbarians that have just been there for too long. Yep. That's what it is.
And they've become, and the European countries have become soft. The British are soft.
They're just their actions and their ways.
Swedes are soft.
Oh well,
yeah.
The Swiss. I read some article about the Swiss. Some guy saying, "Yeah, we don't have poor people here. They don't even have a poor class, so they don't even what it. They don't understand what poverty is. It's insane. Everybody, at least, I mean, not everybody I know, but I mean, all the people I know that are really, really deep down, genuine people, they've all come from some level of poverty or some level of hardship.
Yeah, you had to.
The guys I see that have had everything handed to them
are the punk bitches.
My God, they have drug problems.
Yep.
They fucking have alcohol problems. They just have bravado issues. And I just see, I'm like, you guys, you're young men, you're good looking. What the fuck are you doing? Pumping all this shit into you for?
It's
unnatural as fuck. Like
unhealthy, and kids are dying today on one bed.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole nother thing. That's the opioid shit. Exactly. I think God, a lot of my friends aren't into that stuff, but a lot of my friends, we do like the smell of the white powder. You catch my drift.
Yeah.
And the false bravado that gets talked up when these motherfuckers go off. Who's starting this business? Who's going to do that? What are we going to do over here? And then we go out.
And meanwhile, they go to sleep. They don't wake up.
It all ends up winding into nothing. Just what the hell is all this? That's my generation. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why we're having this conversation, because we're two completely different, as we mentioned earlier. But what I see, and I can only talk about the way I was growing up, and most of you people that are friends with me here on Facebook grew up with me, so we know how we grew up. But listen, we were poor as shit. I mean, we weren't in the hood, but I was born in Newark on Clifton Avenue, not a fucking great area. Actually, I was born in an ambulance in front of Dickie D's hot dogs. That's another story in itself. But and my name shouldn't be Gary; it should be Dominic John. But my mom passed out, and the guy delivering me in the ambulance, his name was Gary, and that's what they went with. So that's how I got my name. True story. And I got an article on that. I can post one day. I think I have posted on Facebook, but that's what happened. But Sal's absolutely correct. When you grow up poor, there's a lot of things that happen to you. You're hungrier, without a doubt. You want to be more successful. You have to be driven, because if you're not, you're gonna end up in the fucking gutter. You have to appreciate the value of a dollar bill. You know how many people I talked to? I used to work in this restaurant and this club, and the owner's kids were exactly what I mentioned. I won't go into it, the entitlement stuff. Yeah. And one day she came to work as a waitress, because we were stuck. It was a holiday weekend, and she was 7. We're at the bar before the people come in, and she says to her father, "I want a Range Rover, Dad." So he says to her, "Honey, do you know a Range Rover costs $80,000? And know what her response was? Is that a lot of money?
Oh,
that's what she said. Is that a lot of money?
Oh God.
So then she worked a double shift with me, and she came out with $120 with a $40 tip, $160, and she worked her ass off. And I looked at her. I said, "How much money you got there?" And she goes, $160. I goes, 80,000 a lot of money? And she looked at me. She goes, "It's a lot of fucking money." and that's it. So I agree. You need to come from some type of poverty or hard times. And I think what it does is a lot of things. I think also builds your character. There's something about, even a sports analogy, when you get knocked down, a Rocky movie, you get knocked down, you come up, you get up, you dust yourself off, and you come in twice as hard.
There's some kind of characteristic about being humble that it's unexplainable. Like when you see someone who's being truly humble, even though they were being a jerk maybe before, they were talking all kinds of nonsense.
Yeah.
If they're humble in defeat or if they're humble in victory, it's like, all right.
I couldn't agree more.
I totally.
I couldn't agree more. That's a great point, Sal. That humble is one of my favorite two things: being humble and not forgetting where you came from, and the people that got you there. So I told everyone, and I've lived this in my business life. I live it in my personal life. In my companies that I've worked for billion-dollar companies, and I'm working for one now. I'll treat the fucking janitor exactly the way I treat the president. No different. And everybody in between the same. You have ultimate respect for everyone. And I think that's why we're here. That's why the Red Podcast is even though we're deplorables. And listen, the proof's in the pudding. You go to my Facebook pages. I generalize, and I'll be the first to admit, I'm one thing, a bullshitter. I tell the fucking truth. I generalize liberals and the DNC as loonies, and some people get offended when I say, well, all liberals are loonies. And then when they get offended, know what I say to them? Maybe you're not really a liberal.
Maybe
you're not really a liberal, because I'll tell you what, I'm a fiscal conservative. Socially, I'm in the middle. And my from day one, since I've been talking about politics in the last 10 or 15 years, my mantra has always been politicians on the level of a president shouldn't give a fuck about social issues. The fuck should a president care about? No, that'd be like telling you the president of IBM, $100 billion company. He's worried how many fucking pens and pencils they use in Rochester, New York office. That's what a social issue to me is to a president. It's like it should be state run. It should be the I guess the Democratic vote, but a president shouldn't weigh. I mean, he could weigh in, but he shouldn't have it's below his pay grade whether a man or woman uses a certain bathroom. What the fuck? Why are you telling me the president should give a shit about? Do you know how many elections were won because of abortion and birth control? People pick their fucking president choice on that issue, that one topic, abortion. And I'm for abortion. I'm an RV Wade guy. I'm not going to, I think you have to have limits on it, obviously. Yeah. Like anything else, scientifically, in a 9th month for a healthy baby, you can't do a fucking abortion. That's disgusting. You're killing a.
Well,
but
no, we can go even.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying hypothetically.
What we do, like 4,
5?
Yeah.
Well, my thing is,
I would say even 3, maybe.
I would
right?
say, my
maybe
thing
2?
would be 3 weeks.
Yeah, there we go. I'm with you on that too.
But listen, abortion's nothing wrong with it. I completely agree they should be done in America or the world. But you got to have some kind of parameters around it. You can't just say paint a broad paint stroke. Oh, abortion. Everyone, no.
I might even say 3 weeks might be too long.
Yeah, I kind of
say
agree.
2 weeks,
or
because the cells double every day, right?
Am I not mistaken that there's something called the morning after pill?
No, there is the Plan B.
Okay, so what the fuck? You go and have sex with a guy. You think you may be pregnant? Take the fucking pill. Done. 1 day. Done. But that's a whole nother. So my point being is I'm a fiscal conservative, but Sal and I aren't social. We're not Bible thumping nuts on the right. I'll be the first to say. However, we ain't not some fucking crazy maniac liberal left, which I see today. And it's funny because I asked a question once to a few of my friends who are in the know. They know people. I said, how many people do you think are liberal loonies on the left? And they asked me what I thought, and how many would you think going back a year or two? What percentage of our population in America would you think was liberal left loons?
Going back,
right way before.
Not as many as there are now. Look,
I said 30%. Then I see the popular vote, and that scared the shit out of me.
Half, more than half.
You got to be fucking kidding me. And listen, I don't give a fuck if you hate President Trump, if you don't like him. You want to go into Hillary Clinton. I can go into Hillary Clinton. Listen, I could drill a fucking asshole-sized crater in Hillary Clinton, the size to go to the fucking center of the earth. Just today, people, and here, we were talking about the media blackout. Just today, a Hillary colleague, a good friend of Hillary, big supporter, Richard Keenan out of Ohio, a congressman. He was in a lot of her photos that you saw when she was campaigning for president.
Let me refill you on this good stuff.
Thank you, brother.
Yes. Now go ahead with the story. It's good.
He just got busted. He pleaded guilty, life term in prison for raping a 4-year-old, a Hillary colleague. Now, it's funny because I heard this a lot from the liberal left when Pizzagate came out from Julian Assange on Wiki. And let me give props or street cred to Julian Assange of Wiki. That man is a hero. That man hasn't seen his family in 5 years. Hasn't seen his kids, his wife. Without that man, because all he did, know what he did? I'll tell you what he did. People want to say, oh, he didn't hack shit. Other people hacked it. And his hacking, to me, hacking can be a bad thing, but in this instance, it was a good thing. Because guess what he did? This guy got Oz, the wizard. And the wizard sounding like this, they're saying all this crazy shit behind the scenes. He just pulled the curtain back. And in those emails, everything was spelled out. So the DNC and Hillary Clinton, they want to prosecute Julian Assange because they busted him. They busted her. They busted Obama. They busted Hillary Clinton. They busted all of them, and just show how fucked up they were.
We could do 10 podcasts on this, but let's get into it a little bit, because the real scary part is the ones that actually, the WikiLeaks that actually made like mainstream news that people didn't want to talk about was the John Podesta ones.
Oh, yeah.
And that was some freaky, scary stuff. People, if you don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about, everyone likes to laugh about it and this, that, the other, but we're talking about Pizzagate.
Yep.
And Pizzagate is scary because
it's fucking disturbing.
If it's true, it is one of the most disturbing stories I've ever heard in my life. There's no hard facts. There's no real evidence, but there are some emails and there are some documented facts about Podesta, like drinking blood for ceremonial rituals. And
I wish I had her name and I should have researched it, but I didn't know we were going to talk about this.
No, it's fine. We'll delve into it another time.
She's an impressionist artist. And previously, I think she has like a Ukrainian type name. Previously, all her art in the city was kind of like the way Andy Warhol had his stuff, his specific shit. She had all her stuff based on demonic activity, like horns of
it was all about demons and the devil.
Crazy shit, blood and all this stuff.
It was all about possession and taking souls, and they were disturbing emails.
And she looks like a disturbing woman.
Yes.
She looks like she's fucking crazy. But Podesta and his brother Tony are involved in a lot of bad shit. And so my point being is this Richard Keenan just got life in prison for raping a 4-year-old for several years. He pleaded guilty today in Ohio, Hubbard, Ohio. Now, with that being said, people, I'm going to throw a couple names out to you real quick. And if you don't know these people, Google them. I ain't making this shit up. But there's a woman by the name of who was Hillary. And here's the great part, people. You want to tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist? Fucking explain this. Hillary Clinton, when Haiti got fucked up, she appointed this woman, Lauren Silsby, Silsby, as her advocate and to head the Haiti fund. So that's what they did.
You saw they just pulled the Haiti funding from FEMA. They're gone. They're leaving. Exactly. They didn't do shit there.
No. And what they found from Lauren Silsby is several things. Number one is she stole a lot of money for Hillary Clinton. Number two is Lauren Silsby was convicted of child trafficking. She's convicted. She went to jail for.
That's unreal.
She's supposed to do 10 years in a Haitian
prison.
It? Only 10. Guess how much she did? She did 12 months. And the guy, her lawyer, who was appointed as a high-powered attorney from Hillary Clinton, Julio Morales, he got convicted of pedophilia 3 years before that. So now we got Hillary's top aide getting convicted of human trafficking of children. Hillary's top lawyer, who gets her off to a 1-year sentence, convicted of pedophilia. Then the fucking final nail in the coffin is Brian Epstein. Brian Epstein is a billionaire. He's not on the level of that scumbag George Soros, but he's a player. He's a player in the game. He's got his own private jet. He's got his own private island. Check out Brian Epstein, convicted twice of raping children. Now, people, you hear the old cliche, it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are pedophiliacs or affiliated with them. It's proven. 4 people in a span of what? 5 minutes?
5 minutes, yeah.
All have been convicted of crimes against children, sexual predators.
Also, mention Bill Clinton's a sexual predator himself.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead though.
No, I was just going to say, well, there's a good friend, and here's the funny part. And he was a Republican guy who always palled up to Bill Clinton. His name is a fat fuck named Dennis Hastert. Check out Dennis Hastert. He was a serial rapist of children. This big fat fuck from the Midwest raped, they know of 50 children, little boys.
These are stories you just don't hear
exactly
on TV. Like they will never talk about this.
Mm-mm.
They know the backlash from people would be too great, I think.
Yep.
So like
I've been called tons of names.
I want to say that they're waiting. This is what I keep saying and hoping that they're just waiting for the substantial evidence to like really hit, to like really get a hold of it. But
you can't find the evidence, you don't search.
I feel like, yeah, exactly. They're not even looking.
No.
And it's like, you want to know something even weirder? It's like, it's so dumb and it's so strange. Did you know that there was an international sign for pedophilia?
Yeah, I did.
And that's the sign for the pizza store that they're talking about.
It is. Is that
a fucking coincidence? Or like,
no.
I mean, I don't know if anybody knew that. Like,
yeah,
that is just insane.
Yep. And there's a Comet Pizza in DC where they've had all their meetings at. I think the owner convicted pedophilia.
I don't think they actually do the meetings and shit there. I don't think
pizza,
I don't think it actually goes down in the pizza restaurant.
It's just fucking crazy though.
Like I feel like the people affiliated in all this are connected.
It's very high-powered people.
It's stuff that I don't think will come out. It's just I wanted to.
It almost is so like what we're talking about, people, and I've been told by many liberals that when I mention Pizzagate that I'm crazy, that I'm a hater, or whatever, that they.
It's really not crazy.
It's not. I actually think that it runs so deep and so wide and so high into government that people don't want to believe that their leaders they voted for can do such horrific things. But I think it's done all the time.
I think it's been going on for a long time.
Excuse me.
Long.
And I don't think. And listen, I'm not. And it doesn't really matter who's innocent or guilty, what parties they belong to.
It really doesn't.
I do think it's much more prevalent though in the Democratic Party, but there are GOP guys that are probably doing it. But I think there are a lot of the old rhinos who I don't even listen. Well, one thing I always say is some of these old fucking rhinos got to go, and that's why we need term limits. You got to listen. You got to tee up and boot the fuck out McCain, McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Boehner, and I'm probably missing a couple others, but they got to fucking go, man. They got to go.
All right. We talked about the horrible history right now of what's been going on. Let's take a little light side. What is going to happen tomorrow at this pro-Trump rally in UC Berkeley? What is going to happen? Let's just speculate a little. What's going to happen here?
I want to tell you something. I prayed that this would take place in New Jersey because I'm going to tell you something right now. I've watched, and you've probably seen them all. Yes. I've watched not just UC Berkeley, but all over the country. But UC Berkeley, we're talking about now. I've seen a woman speaking to the media who's a pro-Trump supporter. Her back is to the crowd. And liberal men, have come and sprayed her in the face with mace or pepper spray.
All right, let's preface this real fast. The UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
This is where the Milo Yiannopoulos riots happened.
Yeah.
And this happened, 2 months ago?
About 2.5 months ago, yeah.
And now, if you don't know, there's going to be a pro-Trump rally held tomorrow at UC Berkeley by the Gay Rights Activation Organization. What is this?
Listen, this is phenomenal. This is called Gays for Trump.
Gays for Trump. They're putting this rally on.
Yeah, and we came from our wedding. We know several gay men who are very pro-Trump.
Yeah,
and I always find it funny when you have your gay rights activists who are like, you got to be Democrat. The fuck does one have to do with the other? I believe in gay marriage. It's Donald Trump believes in gay marriage. It's not going anywhere. The horse is out of the barn.
Yeah.
It's never come back. It's what it should be. It's fine. And like I mentioned earlier, I don't even think the president should weigh in on a social issue like that. Being married, they are being married. It's fine.
They should be allowed to. Of
Right.
course.
It's an old. It's listen. Discussing anything other than that is just a fucking stupid argument.
Yeah. What? Come on. This is why we talk. We got to progress here as
Right.
people. We got to. It's the term of the like of what this year? Woke people. We're gonna get everyone woke.
Exactly. And get it, because a lot of times I'll hear gay people just saying they hate Trump. And my favorite thing to do with a person like that is I just like to delve, ask questions, and shut up. And I talk a lot, but I do shut up. And I just ask questions like, why? And I'll shut up. And the things they say are so much just a talking point for what they hear on the media every day. But the independent thinkers that we're talking about, that's why we're doing the Red Podcast, gay men and gay women who actually have normal lives like all of us do, they're no different. What do they want? I'll tell you what they want. They want what the fuck I want. They want what Sal wants. They want the economy to get better, so we make more money. We want to get jobs so there's less unemployed people. We want to fucking reduce our taxes, which is fucking killing us.
Yes. That's going to be huge when tax reform goes down.
That is going to be what Sal just mentioned is the number one. I mean, yes, ISIS and stuff that needs to be done, but I'm talking about a domestic issue. Because think about this, people. Every 2 weeks we get paid. Nowadays, depending on where you work, and I'll give you an example. I'll give you my paycheck gets hit 49.8%. Because I pay federal,
Woo!
New York State, New York City, New Jersey State. So I get hit on 4 fronts, and New York City is fuck state lines. And by the way, Trump wants to change that. He's put that in that you pay where you live. Doesn't matter where you work. Anyway, when I start pulling 20% more into my paycheck,
It's going to be huge.
it's fucking huge.
Huge.
And I want to hear a liberal say they don't want that. I want to hear that. Because let me tell you something. When they say all the things they want to do, or the policies they support, they know they cost money. So I always say to them, what's stopping you? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, what's stopping you from supporting that policy that President Obama, that I think is so fucked up? And they don't get it. And I say, listen, on your box, on your tax return, check off 20%, 30%, give more to the government. They say, no way. I go, well, what? So you're the guy you support up idea, which is going to cost us a lot of money. You're supporting that jerk off, but you don't want to pay for it. You want him and I to pay for it. And that's fucking hypocrisy at its finest. And when I talk about liberal lunacy, that's what I kind of hone in on is hypocrisy, double standard. Take it away.
It's not even. Yeah, it is about definitely the double standard. I had. I'll give you a relative example. I was talking to my friend's wife at the time, and she was obviously very liberal, very for Obama and Obamacare and all that stuff. And I was telling her my opinion. This is before Trump got elected. This is
so things were even.
This is in the summer.
Yeah.
This is like in the summer, last summer.
Yeah.
Like this is like things that have happened since then you wouldn't even believe. But
yeah.
Going back, let's go back to August. I'm bringing back to August 2016.
Okay.
And I was telling her, I was like, I cannot pay $700 tax
right
for not having health insurance. I was like, I was like, first of all, it's a scam.
Of course.
Let's be real. I'm a healthy young adult. The only way something bad, it's going to be a fucking catastrophic incident.
Or like break a leg or something like that.
Something catastrophic, like a crazy accident. There's no way I'm getting sick. God forbid.
Yeah.
But let's be real about this. I was like, to make me pay $700 for something I don't need is anti-American. It's socialism.
Against the Constitution.
It's fucking crazy. I was like, I refuse to pay it. I was like, I'm waiting for Trump to get elected so I don't have to, pay this tax. And she goes, so you don't think everyone should have universal health care? And it was like, what I was saying didn't even seep into her head.
No.
Not even one bit. I was like, that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about me paying this tax. I don't want to pay this tax. There's no reason for me to pay this tax.
Right.
It's stupid. And that's, stupid and petty and personal. But anyway, the real point is she didn't even
No.
Didn't even go through her head. Well, what do you mean people shouldn't have universal? Of course, people should have universal healthcare. We have to figure out
They
a better
do
way
anyway.
to do it.
They do anyway.
We have to figure. Yeah, of course they do.
Previously, they always did.
You can go to any walk-in clinic and get healthcare.
Without a doubt. I live it. I see it every day. I think, and it's kind of piggyback on your conversation with this young lady.
Yeah.
I think my thing is what I try to say to people is open your mind. Let's listen to each other. And some of the best conversations I've had on Facebook is with people with different viewpoints than me who can open their mind. And listen, I don't care what anybody fucking says. My mind is always open. I'm always there to listen. I have never attacked someone personally. And what I mean by that is they have a different viewpoint of me. I never call someone a name.
If they name call you, though, you got to go.
Well, that's a
Come on,
different
it's
story.
different.
Yeah, that's different. But my thing is this, and the one thing I say, this Facebook post, this podcast is like a court of law. You have to say something based on what I mentioned earlier, facts, numbers, things that occurred. You can't talk about feelings. I can't sit here and tell people, and Sal will do the same as me. I dislike President Obama. I dislike Hillary Clinton immensely. I'm not going to ever come on here and say, I hate Hillary Clinton. She should fucking die. No, because I sound like a moron.
It's not about that.
I sound like a madman. I sound like I'm a rambling fool. No, what we come on here to do is we talk education. We talk facts. We talk research. We do our homework. We don't just go balls to the wall and just start spewing fake shit.
No.
That's the news.
That's what Facebook's for.
That's what Facebook's for. And that's what the news is for. The news is fake shit. I know that was a word going around, fake news. Listen, I got to say one thing, whether you like it or not, I'm saying it. President Trump has made about 10 accusations of things. He's been right every fucking time, people. He hasn't been wrong once. And please don't tell me he's a stupid guy. When I hear that from liberals, President Trump's stupid. Holy shit.
I think it comes down to when they say he's stupid, they don't like his speech.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody articulates.
They didn't like President Bush either. They called him stupid too.
Well, he didn't articulate himself
He did
very
not.
good at
But
all.
they did it anyway, though. What, did Obama, you think, spoke so well? I didn't think he did.
Yeah, no, he did.
He fucked, if the teleprompter went down, he fucked up a lot.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. I never saw that personally, but he was a very good speaker.
I'm
Very
not,
good speaker. But that's not even about it.
Right. And
What? All right. Well, it is about
his
it.
his
Let me bring it back.
All right. Here's what I would think about him. I think what happened was, and I can go back to conspiracy theories, and you and I have gone back. I think he was chosen. He was a chosen one.
Oh, definitely. But let's go there another day.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I think he just practiced teleprompter reading, and he's very good at it.
He's very.
I've seen him fuck up though, and I'll give you.
Yeah, he
quick
repeated
example.
himself.
Yeah,
right?
a bunch of times, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But I think his content was always weak.
Yeah, but that was the point. This is what I'm talking.
People don't care about that.
His content was shit,
Right.
but he knew how to speak and give that tone of voice where it really uplifted people, and they really liked what he was going to say, even though he really wasn't saying much.
Right.
Like, bullshit like that.
No, I agree.
I feel like
I agree with
they
you.
don't
You're being honest. You're right.
Trump, he gives people those one-line, straightforward
tweets and
"go
stuff.
fuck yourself"
Those-
answers, and he hated it.
But I got to say, his last speech I thought was one of the best I've ever heard. Address. It was phenomenal.
Oh, okay, that one he was like toned down.
Yeah, very.
very, very nice.
I thought his inaugural one was really good.
Yeah, that was
So
pretty good.
I think he's been doing some good.
that was good.
You know what it is with him? He don't take shit and he don't care. It's actually refreshing.
No, that's what I keep saying to people. I was like, it's kind of nice though. Like he's not
He's
fucking
us.
back down type of dude.
No.
He is us, and I like everything he's doing right now. It's just like, I mean, obviously some things like we were going to talk about the coal emissions and stuff like that. Regulation needs to be in place for about pollution.
Listen. And the one thing I try to say, and I will say this from day one, and the media hasn't given the guy the opportunity to even do his job. People like Sal and I'll be the first to say, I of course I voted for President Trump. I support him 1,000%, but I'm not a fucking sheep. I'm not going to be blind and just follow him aimlessly down. And so the point Sal's bringing up, and I completely agree, is that, listen, I am all for creating jobs. I am all for being void of OPEC. Who the fuck wants them? Get them the fuck out of here. They're poison. I know we have a ton of natural resources here in this country.
Yeah.
I'm completely for drilling for natural gas cleanly, coal cleanly, oil cleanly. But it has to be done and I don't believe in regulation in many businesses that are not going to hurt someone, but I do believe in heavy regulation in this because of pollution and water. Very, very important. And we can go into global warming. I don't believe in it. Climate control is another, but I do believe you do not purposely pollute the planet for gain. You can't. You have to take you. And in today's technology, I know they can fucking take care of this.
It's the air we breathe. It's
you got to do
drink.
it.
You can't do some of that, but doing it cleanly and creating jobs.
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
Give these guys some jobs.
Right. I'm all for it.
But that's one thing. Like that, and then I'm not sure. People like to blame Trump for this. I'm not sure it is Trump, but it might be a Republican guy. They're trying to do away with the national land. Did you see that? They're trying to do away with national parks.
That's
pretty fucked up.
Oh yeah, you can't. And that there, I don't. What's the reason behind it?
Is
it monetary?
Of course, everything's monetary. I can't talk deep in this. I'm kind of ignorant on the subject. I know this is going
tax
on.
Dollars.
What it is?
Budgetary.
It's budgetary. It's like, but you got to let's go on principles. Let's not even. Let's not go into the facts. I'm ignorant on the facts. So let's not talk about.
I completely agree with you. You can't close a national park.
We're one of the only countries in this world who has public land.
Yep.
Public land that me, you, a hobo down the street, fucking anyone can go to anytime they want to, and stay there and fucking vacation and fucking do whatever, explore, hike. It's our land. Like that song, "This land is your land." Yeah. It's true. It's one of the only countries. Canada doesn't have that shit. No. Okay, like so to do away with that would be that's a step in the wrong direction.
You know what? I don't know the facts. I don't know, but I will say this: if someone in Trump's administration, that's something I don't agree with. So. And listen, the one thing I always say, and I'm a big proponent of this, is that men and women are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. No. Nobody's perfect. And when you're not perfect, you make mistakes. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a president making a mistake. If he gathers information and he makes a decision, what I want that decision to be is concise. I want it to be direct. I don't want the guy to lollygag or the woman to get lollygag. Like, I don't know what to do like they did in Benghazi. I wanted them to be, and if they're wrong, I'm okay with it. Because listen, you never learn if you don't fail. And I want someone more important to me than fucking acting like a dipshit and not making a decision. It's one of my pet peeves. I fucking hate people that can't make decisions. You have the information, make a decision. And guess what? If it goes good, you're a hero. If it goes bad, you're the GOAT. But guess what? I respect both. And if you do fuck up, you just apologize. You made a mistake. I think the American public's cool with that.
Yeah.
And that's something Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton never do. Not say they make a lot of mistakes. They never apologize for shit. And I can go on and on about that. I don't want to bore the shit out of you. But I'm all big into taking responsibility. And politicians today do not do so. Neither does the media. The media lies so much they never say fucking sorry one time, and that's not the way I was brought up or raised. You say what you say, that's fine, and if you talk, you walk the walk, and if you fuck up, then you apologize, and I'm cool with that. I don't know what your feelings are about that.
No, I agree with everything you say, man. It's like it's so down to the truth and it's so real. I hope people really can grasp this and excuse me, I'm burping.
Yeah,
great.
Drinking some good scotch. Yes. I mean, some good bourbon. I'm sorry.
Great bourbon, everyone. What is this?
It's right from
Colonel Taylor.
Yeah, this is right from Kentucky. It's called Colonel E.H. Taylor, and I know this is legit shit because I visited the distillery, and this is made. It's a single. What do you call it? A single barrel, and we have people who live in Lexington, Kentucky, who live here. And for our wedding gift, G and I's wedding gift, this is what he gave me. This is not a cheap bottle, people. It's a very
thank him.
Yeah,
you thank him by name.
Yeah, it's Brandy and Keith out in Lexington. So we thank him for we're indulging in this fantastic bourbon tonight, which is making Sal and I burp.
Thank you, though.
But
I appreciate it so much.
But it's the great thing about what's going on in this podcast, the podcast, is that I enjoy the fact I'm talking to Sal, who's a different age group, obviously. And it's interesting to me to get feedback on what you see every day in your millennials.
Likewise. Yeah. I like to see what's going on, like what you guys think, how you perceive my age group, what you think's going on in the age group below mine, what's going on with them, because they're a whole nother animal. And like, you know.
And how about this? What are your thoughts on the generation after you, which is a whole nother fucking ball game?
See, I think it's weird to say the generation after mine, I feel is kind of the most deprived generation, like in a way, because they were the latest on technology. They're the oldest and the latest. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to call you really old or anything like that, because I
don't
think,
give a shit. No.
but
it's
like
fine.
you're at a point in your age where you had to learn,
Yeah.
or that's it.
Right.
You're dead.
Right.
Like if you think about being 50 years old right now and not knowing how to use a computer,
I don't
where
know.
the fuck would you be?
You know, you are dead.
You're dead. So like you were at that age where you had to. The age group right above mine, like the kids in their 40s,
How about
late 30s.
How about the kids underneath you, 18? What's going on with them?
I mean, they're just like I was saying the other day, they're a whole group of autistic ADHD animal savages. Like my age group, I'm gonna say we're the most savage by far. We're just savages. Millennials, everything a millennial does is for money. Everything.
That's interesting to me. Okay, that's good. I see. This is the stuff I'm unaware of. I'm not a parent, obviously, of a kid who is 18 or nothing. So, but I'm interested to figure out that I just see the snowflake mentality, and
it's everywhere.
Well, it's shit like I heard today, which I can't even fucking. I think it's a joke, but I'm told it's not. But if it's just now, listen, I'm not. What I'm saying right now, I'm not confirming, and this may be the one thing in this broadcast that's false. But I did hear this, that Mike Pence has come to Notre Dame to speak, and Notre Dame, which I visited for 1 week. I had a fight camp there. I visited Notre Dame. I got to meet the president. I was in the football locker room where I have all the shit in my that it had all their stuff you saw in Rudy. Excuse me. They're going to have a safe space because Mike Pence is there. That's one of the top Jesuit conservative, I thought, colleges in the country. Matter of fact, they probably have never made it to the next level in sports because they don't take the athlete who may be a fuck up in his school duties, or he may be.
See, that safe space shit, that's the generation below me. That's my age group. The money, like,
yeah, you have none of that
millennials,
shit.
I would say half the age group was everyone gets a trophy. The generation below
That
me
started it all.
That's generation below
fucked.
me. Everyone got a trophy.
And that's what I want to ask you. I want to ask you about that generation, because the shit I'm seeing is pretty fucking scary. Like the safe. I listen, I don't give a shit what happens to me in my life or people I know. A safe space is somewhere I'm never going to fucking need. And it's happened to me. It happened to everybody. I went to college in fucking Newark. I used to have to drive. I had a CJ7 Renegade Jeep with the fat fucking tires on it. I used to drive through the hood. And you people know Route 21 is the hood. These black dudes used to daisy chain each other. They would hook up, and what would happen is they would pray a woman would come, get scared because she didn't want to hit them, stop her car, and they'd rob her, and they'd run off into the projects. Well, when that happened to me, they didn't know who it was because I had my top down, and I fucking jacked it into fifth gear, revved the engine. They fucking ran because I was gonna hit them. My bumper was this big metal bumper. They fucking dispersed. So as far as safe spaces, I can't even grasp the concept, and I still have not heard an explanation from anyone, no matter how old you are, for the need for this shit.
Wow, because I'm glad you just left it. Like, we didn't even rehearse this or anything, people. Like, I'm glad you said that, because I was riffing on an idea in my head while you were talking about why they need this safe space.
I can't get it.
In my head, I think I just got it. It's primitive. It's not even hashed out, people. I'm hashing it out live right now to you. I'm saying it out loud for the first time. This is like the generation below mine was the first one. They were 5, 6. They had the internet. When their first conscious thoughts, they saw the internet. They saw all this shit.
Completely viable.
So they're the first generation with the internet. The internet makes the world so big. So big. So before that, all the other previous generations, the world was our 3 blocks around us.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Like,
yes.
we're going outside.
Absolutely.
How are we entertaining ourselves? I don't know. Let's play football. Let's play soccer. Let's do a sport.
Stickball, whatever.
Let's play
Yeah.
tag.
Yeah.
I don't know who's playing with the girls are out. Let's play house. Whatever the bullshit you're doing. And so, like, they had the internet, and they had video games, and they had all this shit. So the world has always been so big. And now they get to a place like college, and
They're
it's so
so
small. It's so small, and like all these people were there in their space,
Right.
in their private space.
Right.
They're like, I need my own space.
Well,
I need my own. I need my own.
Here's.
I need my own safe space.
I'm going to throw this out to you, and I would love to ask this to a person who says they need safe. What the fuck do you need Vice President Pence come to speak at your college? How are you negatively being affected? I mean, I'm trying to really understand and grasp this. Like, I one thing about the shit on Facebook is I really do take into everybody's point of view. But for a person my age, coming from my generation, what I've been through, to sit that a person coming to a college is going to bother you so much that you need a safe space is so absurd to me. It almost makes me, now listen, I'm not saying that I advocate violence, but if a kid ever said to me, that's a 19-year-old kid from college, from say Northern California, and he said to me as a administrator of Notre Dame University or whatever, of UC Berkeley, that I need a safe space because this person's coming to talk, I think I'd have to fucking smack him in the head. Because listen, it's like this. It's in your house and you don't like the show on Channel 4. Okay, you don't watch the show. Change the fucking channel. Turn the TV off that night. Go out with your friends, have a library, read a book. Go to the gym and lift a weight. Do whatever the fuck it takes. But why would you need a safe space? I don't get this. If you're in one of these colleges and this person's coming to speak, whether it's Milo or Vice President Pence, and you don't like them, you don't fucking go. Go do something else. I don't get it.
You don't even pay attention to it.
Exactly. And I think ultimately what happens is people like this we're talking about, they just lose all credibility to normal thinking Americans.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, all right,
you laugh at them like we are. I laugh.
You're a joke.
You're a joke. You're a fucking. When I hear a liberal say this kind of shit, I laugh. I just laugh. Like it's not. I'm making fun of them. I'm actually thinking in my head they're fucking pathetic human beings. And how is this person ever going to make it through life when you have challenges thrown at you?
That right. That's the huge thing, because you don't realize, like, soon as you're on your own, it's fucking hard as hell. It's a challenge. Every day's a challenge.
Without doubt. I always say this, and this may sound mean, and I know I've been called mean before for saying this, but I always say this because I've been through it. He's been through it. Every person who acts like that needs a good tragedy. And
yeah, it's sad to say, but
it's the truth.
It really
you need
is.
to be fucked. You need your head fucked up. You need someone who you love to die.
It's not even that. It's just something to happen to really bring you down. Like, whoa, this is what's
Kinda
really
you.
important.
Like
you
the theme of your earlier statement, it humbles you.
It humbles you. It really, you have to be humbled in life.
Well, think about this. Think about you're sitting here worrying about Vice President bothering you so much you need a safe space. Well, what's going to happen when the person you love the most dies?
When you're truly humbled, your mind, you stop thinking about, the dumbest, littlest things. You just start thinking about what's most important. The people close to you, all that. But you don't be thinking about safe space. You know what I think safe space is? This is the thing. This is what I think about fucking safe space. I think this was a concept thought up by some kind of girl. I'm sorry to say, I'm not going to put the gender on blast.
No, it's
but
fine.
It was thought up by some woman, and it's a good idea. And then some guy thought of it that was equal age and was like, wow, this is a great idea to get with girls and be alone with girls. And this is what college like. It's just it's something to rally behind. It's some kind of stupid shit to do.
Like the safe space, the word is a word. What I try to do is apply it to human behavior and these people who say they need it. And no matter any reason, I just can't.
It's just stupid to me.
So it's because it's funny because I did.
How are you not safe in the other space? What the fuck?
Well,
like, I don't get it.
My thing is, by hearing, let's look at the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
You hear Vice President Pence speaking.
Is it going to kill you?
What's it going to do?
Are you going to be zombified? What's going to happen
What's
to you?
What's going to happen to you? This is my
You
point.
can disagree with him. What
say, if you don't want to listen, you don't even have to listen to him.
Third time the microphone dropped. Sorry, everyone.
Say, if you don't want to listen to him, you don't even have to listen to him. You can go to a bar, whatever, wherever you go. But my thing is this: even if you heard what he had to say, like 8 years we lived with. I didn't agree with probably anything President Obama said. You listen to what he said. I turned the TV off. I don't want to hear it. I wasn't bothered by it. I wasn't needing a place to go. This is, I actually don't even think it's a real thing. I think it's a made up bullshit thing that people are just doing because it sounds like it's some way that they can kind of shit on what's happening every day.
That just ties us right back to the media and why they just are doing this corrupt shit. Not even corrupt, just willfully the facts of a lot of things.
It's I think it's one of the worst problems of our generation, or at least the last couple of years.
I would say definitely the last 2-3 years.
It's bad.
And that's the other thing I was gonna. This is a great question. The riff on, maybe we can end here. Do you think this fake news phenomenon? Do you think there's an end in sight? Do you think there's some way that we can really decipher out the bullshit and figure this out? I mean,
I here's what I personally think. I don't think you can until you start getting rid of. Or here's what basically a TV station stays open because they get viewership and they can sell their advertising space. What I'm praying is, and I can't see, I don't see how newspapers even stay afloat these days. I mean, the New York Times has been busted so many times for fucking lying. They're all terrible. The Star Ledger here in New Jersey. But I know they have to, and I didn't do my homework on this, but I guarantee you, if we speak to our next show about this, readership is down huge in the last 5 years.
I can only imagine.
At least 60%.
Subscription base are gone.
And that's what Sal does for a living. So he's a marketing guy. But I will guarantee you it's way fucking down. Conversely, you get these media outlets like CNN, CNBC. I mean, you're gonna get your liberal core base, but after a while, like we spoke earlier about, how many fucking times can you hear Chris Matthews say, and I dislike him intensely, but how many times can you fucking say, I think he's a douchebag, but how many times can you say Trump's affiliated with Russia, or Rachel Maddow, who he's not paying his tax returns, and before she even says the next segment, his tax returns are online, made her look like a fucking complete douchebag. But
yeah, that he paid more taxes than any other person.
Exactly.
Jesus.
And another liberal. And there's something that I always say, and I find this interesting, is liberals in the past have been so arrogant because they've always had the media in their pocket that they could do anything. But this is an incredibly interesting thing that happened. Obama went through his first year in office, and he was pushing the job. He took over a lackluster job market from Bush after 9/11.
Yeah.
It was lackluster, wasn't great. And he put together all this bullshit that he said was going to increase job creation, which he did in the private sector, but I'm sorry, the public sector, but zero in the private sector, which we all know how that works.
Yeah.
How you private sector creates all the wealth, public sector generates no revenue. One cannot work without the other. If you have all public sector jobs, you're going to go bankrupt, thus $21 trillion debt. But with that being said, I watched the Sunday morning. They have all these political programs, and I just happened to be watching it 6 years ago. And there was, every question that came up is how many jobs were created by Obama's plan. And they asked David Axelrod, who probably was one of the few good guys in his campaign, Valerie Jarrett, Rahm Emanuel, and the one, what's her name, who's going to get indicted, Rice.
Yeah.
It was funny because as you watched it, David Axelrod said like 23,000 jobs were created. 5 minutes later on a different channel, Valerie Jarrett said 288,000 jobs were created. An hour after that, on the one of these other reports, these on Sunday morning, Rahm Emanuel came on and said 2.8 million were created. And then on the last one, Susan Rice said like 600,000. So my point being is that the arrogance that all four of these people knew they were going to talk about a jobs report, they knew they were going to be asked that question, and they didn't even consider to coordinate, communicate, give a number that's realistic. They just made it up off the top of their head.
Because they think that everyone is fucking stupid.
Exactly.
And the sad part is, the majorities of their watchers and listeners, they are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they're just so willfully ignorant of the facts. It's sad. But
yeah.
That's why we have the Red Podcast, everyone. Like, listen.
It's funny because Sal and I often talk about this, because Sal and I talk all the time. We see each other a lot. And there's one thing I always say, and I said this on my Facebook post many times, I don't call it common sense. Common means ordinary. I call it maximum sense. And what I mean is you are an individual whose intelligence isn't judged by a fucking book. It's judged by street smarts. Hey, listen, my grandfather, he had to work on the fucking railroad when he was in 6th grade. Never even got through 6th grade education. He was one of the brightest man I've ever met in my life. Your grandfather, the same thing. Who would have been my father-in-law. But my point being is this: you could have a brilliant education. You can go to Yale. You can go to Harvard. You can be, you can have an unbelievable job like a scientist, engineer, rocket science, whatever the case may be. But that doesn't mean you have any maximum sense. And so you may be able to do this one task or these group of tasks involved with your job, and people think you're a genius. But when you say some stupid shit, which we hear a lot, people who, I love this fact when I hear people say, oh, he's so intelligent. And then the same guy will say Obama was the best president ever, and it makes my fucking ears heat up to a level where I'm going to fucking go crazy because I'm listening to this guy who's this brilliant dude on his job, but he's got the common sense of a jackass or a maximum. He's a fucking idiot. He never had those times that we talked about earlier, those hard times, those rich kids that Sal mentioned who are all entitled. They have no maximum sense. They're fucking morons. I'm sorry, they are. And by evidence of what they say.
It's like, I feel like half the liberals that are doing these protests, if they really went down and looked at the cold hard facts, that they wouldn't be. Like, not the fact that they're not saying that they would change to be conservative,
right?
Not saying anything. They would actually just be like, whoa, let me take a step back. Let me look at this and let me formulate an opinion that's not of one side or the other, and let me have my own thought, because to be on one side or the other is stupid. I'm sorry. If you're a hardcore conservative, if you're hardcore liberal, you're dumb, because you're just, no one's listening to your message. No one wants to listen to your message. The fact that, or the second that it comes out that the fact that you are this way, left or right, people tune you out.
Right.
So it's just like, you might as well be middle of the road, be socially liberal, and just
respect more than anything a person who is way right or way left who will listen to you.
Yeah.
I know it's rare.
It's hard.
It's like a diamond in the rough.
It's us.
Right. Yeah. But if you find that person, and it happens rarely, it's like rolling the dice, and it's very rare. You might get a snake eyes once, and when you find that person and you can enlighten them. And the thing is, I think, and if you're really talking about trying to speak to someone in an intelligent manner, you can't be one way or the other.
No, yeah.
It's almost impossible. And I'll give you an example. If you're a far right person and you're so anti-abortion that people are going to tune you out, because there are times when abortion's needed. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Now, if you go to the far left, and the far left has way more causes than the far right. But if you go to the far left and they're talking about all the shit they talk about, right? I can, it's a laundry list. It'll fill my arm. And they don't want to listen to you. You're pretty fucked, because you can't have a conversation with that person, because eventually you will beat the shit out of them intellectually. As G likes to say, she likes to use this word, I intellectually raped that person. Intellectually. And if you did, their only comeback is insults.
Yeah. It's usually do. Or the, you're an idiot.
Right.
Type deal. It's like, all right, yeah.
And unfortunately, you get you get a lot of these liberals who think they're, and on Facebook I find this, is they always think they're the smartest people in the room.
Yeah.
Always think that. You can't tell them anything. You can't explain anything. And the one thing I always say is, you ask me a question on Facebook or here directly, I will answer it. I will address it right to you. If your name is Joe and you ask me a question about a candidate or something I said tonight or something Sal said tonight, I will answer it, or on Facebook, I will answer it directly. However, do you know how many people I went to high school with at Belleville, junior high, grammar school, and they become pseudo liberals? And I will ask them a direct question. They will never fucking answer it, ever. And they'll say, it doesn't matter. We're talking about your candidate. No, I'm asking about what you just addressed. I'll never get it. Meanwhile, I'll address it every fucking time, because I don't play that shit. I don't play ostrich. I don't dig my head in the sand and I ignore you. I will answer you. And listen, sometimes I have to admit that I'm wrong. It's fine. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes I have to admit my candidate is wrong. Listen, I supported George W. Bush in 2000 when he ran in 2000, back in 2000. I look back retrospectively, I still would have voted for him. President Bush made a shitload of mistakes. And I actually think GW is part of the problem.
He definitely was. No, GW,
Yeah.
he didn't help the situation going on. But hey, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we are the Reasonable Enlightened. What, every week, every day, whatever you want. We're gonna be here for you people. All right. Have a safe Easter. Have a great Friday night.
Drop your comments below.
Let's hear from you people. Everyone have a great day. We love you. Bye.